Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about kick drums. I did a stream today and I was finally able to put in the time to actually get a cool patch that really works well and is very customizable, and we're going to be remaking that today. So let's get right into it. Alright, so as I said, this is made on a stream, so excuse the mess. But let's get into it. I have a signalizer here so we can actually see the kick we're making, and I also have the patch itself here. And we're kind of gonna go over what makes this patch work and how you can actually customize it, and then we'll recreate it. I'm not gonna give away the preset because it's very important that you exactly know how this kick works to get the maximum out of it, and therefore I would like for you to actually make it yourself and really understand what's going on and how you can get the most out of this patch. So let's first listen to the kick I made. Yes, right. This is the right channel. Here's the kick. Sounds really nice, very customizable. We have a click editor here. We have a volume editor here, and then we have the noise volume here. And you can set the amount of click. So if you want an extreme click, you can do that. You can edit how it. Oh, sometimes the analyzer doesn't work. Again, you can set different volumes as well. You can even make it into a big room kick if you really want to. It's all very customizable, as I said. So let's kind of go over the patch and try to recreate it. So I'm going to make a new MIDI channel, and I'm going to drag over the MIDI. The MIDI note we're playing is an F0 in Ableton, so that's in the bass register for Serum. And we're going to open this up. I'm quickly going to set up a spectrum like so, as well as a analyzer. I've been using this signalizer here, which is a really cool analyzer. It takes a little bit of work to set up sometimes if you want to really dive into it and make it look pretty and stuff, but for now this will do. So we're going to set the solo button here so we can see it, and let's make this patch. So we're going to go into basic shapes, and we're going to edit the waveform, and we're going to select all of these waveforms here. Everything but the sine wave, and we're going to remove them. Now we're going to go into single and phase invert this this waveform, or the sine wave here, and we're going to make 2 copies. Now the reason we phase invert them is now it's at 0 phase. So normally it would be at 180 degrees of phase, and now it's at 0 degrees of phase. And you can see that when I click this knob, you can see we're at 0 degrees phase here. Now for the second one, I'm going to add a few harmonics here, so we can use that to dial in a tone later. And then for this third one, I'm going to basically dial in the same harmonics, but maybe a bit louder and a bit more up here. And it's basically kind of random. This is something you need to experiment with when you're making your own patch, kind of see what sounds nice and what doesn't. Then we're going to actually click the morph and again use the 0 all phases here, and it will neatly create a wavetable for us, which we can use. So now we have this wavetable which we can use to dial in a tone, and let's quickly set it up. We are going to assign a macro and call it tone. Simple as that. Now we're gonna go into our LFOs and we're gonna edit those, and I'm going to start with the click LFO here. So I'm going to drag over this note and turn on the envelope so that it only loops once, and we can quickly give it a nice shape like this, for example. And this is of course very customizable, as I told you before, so this is something you would go in later and customize. But for now I'm going to set it to the coarse pitch, and I'm going to Alt Shift click it so it's unipolar, and we're going to go into the matrix and set this to 50. Now we're going to go again here to LFO1, and we're going to get the master tuning and also set this one to 50. Now the reason I'm doing this, also don't forget to set it to unipolar as well. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because just having one modulation isn't enough, and you cannot set it to more than 50 modulation because it's meant to be 100% if you're setting it bipolar, and the maximum is 50 if you set it unipolar from the middle upwards. Of course you can set it down and then you can go further, but in this case 50 is the maximum, and therefore we also use the master tuning to get that extra pitch movement that we need for the kick. So for this we're going to set macro 1 and macro 2, and we're going to call this click. Excuse me, we're going to set macro 1 here twice and not macro 2. You want them on the same macro so you can easily control the click here. Now we're going to go into the second LFO. We're also going to set this to envelope mode, and we're going to make our shape of the volume we want. And we'll do something like this. A nice little dip just below our click and before our sub here. Something like this would work. And we're going to go into the oscillator and assign it to the level. And the third LFO is going to control our noise, so we're also going to set that to envelope mode. Drag over this node, turn it down here, and then make a basic shape, maybe something like this, for a slightly shorter noise here. And we're going to set this to 50 here. Now you can take any noise you want. This is again something you need to experiment with. Maybe you can drag this noise pitch up or down a little bit. I'll leave it down here, just under 50. And we're going to enable the filter and only filter the noise. And we're going to select our high 24 and turn the resonance down a little bit. And we'll turn this up a little bit to around here. So we really get that high end from the noise. Now you can hear we have our noise there. Now one thing I actually forgot to do is to turn this randomizer down as well as this phase down, so it will always start playing from this part here. You can hear that it starts to play, and if we dial in our click, you can see now that we get our kick here. The final thing I want to do is I want to go to this LFO3, which is controlling the noise level, and I want to set a last macro here and call it noise. So we can use that to control the noise. Now we have one macro left. In the original patch I had a compressor on there, which you can just dial in how you like. Maybe you like it like this. You want to also get the very first click here. Turn it up a little bit. And just dial it in like this. And then you can use your macro to set the compression amount through the mix there. So that's basically the patch. Now there is some things you might want to consider. If we look at the spectrum here, there is this little bump up here which you might want to turn down a little bit to tame it a little bit. That's something you can do in post, but you could also do it with the EQ here if you really want to. I like to do it with the EQ provided by Ableton because that has a nice analyzer and I know exactly what I'm doing. But now it's time to really dive in, get your click exactly the way you want it to sound. Maybe you want to edit the sub a little bit. Sometimes again this analyzer turns off. As you can see, we can dial in a nice bit of click. We can, as you can see, the click kind of gets removed by this EQ a little bit. We'll turn this off here. But that's basically how you do your kicks inside Serum. Now, I really hope this is useful for you, and I really hope you can get to experiment with this patch that you just made while watching this. And If you have any further suggestions for sound design tutorials, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment down below, and if you like what you saw and you want to see more, subscribe. I hope I can keep up my current upload schedule, which is basically once a day, and every now and again I take a little break and one day off. But yeah, I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.